Good morning. This is your morning minute meditation for this morning. On last morning, we looked at the subject of revival out of Psalms 85, verse number 6. I want to read those verses again, and I'll give you another thought out of that text. In Psalms 85, verse number 6, the cry has been made, the plea has been made, wilt thou not revive us again, that thy people may rejoice in thee. We have been dealing with the subject of revival. We dealt with a few things on yesterday morning, and we begin to look here in the text this morning of the subject of revival. I notice as we come to the subject of revival, when we're dealing with revival, we deal with God's people. Our lips say that we need revival, but our lives reveal something different. We dealt with the desire and the dissatisfaction and the direction of revival. Let's look at the word revival. When we think about revival, the first thing I notice is there's a spiritual decline. You say, preacher, what does that mean? We begin to deal with the subject of revival because there's a spiritual decline in our life. You say, preacher, how often do I need revival? The psalmist used the word again in the text. So frequently the child of God needs revival. Every time there's a straying in the life of the believer, there needs to be a reviving. But then there's a spiritual dependency in revival. Verse number 6, we find that is a prayer for revival. That lets us know that in the spiritual dependency that we cannot work up revival, but that revival has to be and must be prayed down. Will thou not revive us again, that thy people may rejoice in thee? So we begin to think about the word revival in a spiritual decline and a spiritual dependency, but we also see it in a spiritual delight. The result of revival in verse number 6 is rejoicing. So there's the spiritual delight, that thy people may rejoice in thee. So there's a product, there's the result of reviving. The word rejoice means to be made glad. It means to be made merry. It means to brighten up or to cheer up. In other words, it means to look alive, not to look dead. How many times have we come to church and we just did not look alive? We did not act alive. And so that's the subject of revival, is to bring life back to the child of God.